Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Full Circle Podcast. I am Lexie Brown here with my co-host, Mariah Rose. We are in the official game week of the WNBA season, people. I can't wait, even though it does not come with some tough times that we will talk about throughout the show. Some of your faves, some of my faves, some of everybody's faves were waived over the weekend, this afternoon. Actually, it is Monday, May 12th when we're recording, and it's not an easy process. It's not an easy time, but it's something that a lot of us have gone through. So even though we can be very, very excited about the start of the WNBA season, it definitely comes with difficult conversations and moments, and we're definitely going to get into that today. But other than that, Mariah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Lexie. I don't really have anything exciting going on other than just watching all of the sports going on and working. But like Lexie said, we're going to get into some of the preseason madness that has gone on, the roster cuts, the heartbreaks, the emotional aces cut that Lexie literally texted me about and was like, we have to talk this episode because she has, a different perspective than some of the people on Twitter do. And Lexie's going to give us some of the real deal. So without further ado, Lexie, give me your preseason.
Yeah, I do have a few preseason thoughts. I do want to preface this with that it is preseason, okay? A lot of players are still chilling in these games. They are still surveying. Coaches are still surveying who's going to make their teams, and it's in the midst of training camp. So let's not take these games, what we've seen, what we haven't seen, and think too much into it. That's what preseason is about. So I am excited that we were able to have the preseason games televised, because that's something that fans have never seen before, is the atmosphere and the energy that veterans, tenured players have for rookies, younger players, when they get their opportunity to play more minutes in the preseason than they might be able to get to play in the regular season. So I was really excited that fans and supporters of the W got to see us in that light, because a lot of people's first impression of WNBA players are the first game of the season, or it's intense and bodies is getting run over and the physicality is off the charts. And that people like, mind you, this is my first impression of y'all. And y'all out here playing football on a basketball court. So it was really nice that people got to see like the lighthearted part of these preseason games that you get to see with the NBA, starting with the Combine, Summer League, preseason. You get to see all of that leading up to the first NBA season, or the NBA game of the season. So I was really happy about that. I have notes about all the teams that I watched. I'm not really even going to get into them because, like I said, preseason doesn't really matter. I will touch on our close scrimmage that now everybody is chatting about, like, why wasn't it televised? You will have to ask the home team about that, why we didn't have a televised preseason game in LA, but we did win. We did beat the Sparks in LA. So that was a nice little moment for me to be a part of that, even though it didn't count. We looked good. The Sparks looked good. They still have a lot of new pieces, moving parts. So I don't want to reveal too much about that scrimmage. It was closed for a reason, so I'm not going to be the op and be into everybody's business. But I will just let y'all know that we did win that game. So the Storm finished preseason 2-0, which is a great way to head into the season. Unfortunately, we did make our final roster cuts today. So we lost Mackenzie Holmes, Serena Sundell, and Brianna Frazier. And for me personally, I was in the locker room this morning with all three of them when it happened. And those moments they're very hard. And you build such a good relationship with these young players so quickly, and you really just want them to be successful and feel embraced and feel part of the team. But in the back of your mind, there's always that thought of like, dang, like they might not be here next week. But you don't want them to feel that. And that's the hard part about this process is, when I knew my spot was secure. Thankfully, praise the Lord, I had a secure spot. But, you have 5, 6, 7 players that are competing for this roster spot, but you don't want anybody to feel like they don't have a chance to make the team, because everybody does have a chance to make the team. Even though from the outside looking in, some players had zero chance. No, every person in that gym has an opportunity to make a roster. And it's our job as players that do have spots to make them feel that way and to make them feel important, to make them feel valuable. So that's why these cut days are so hard, and they are extremely hard for fans. And I see every year it's the same. It's like a cycle. This is like the worst week for us in the WNBA. It's like clockwork. You bring in these young players, they do media day, they're with the team, they're on the socials, and then boom, waived. And then everybody's like, well, why did you guys do this? What? As opposed to what? Act like that they're not there. That's not that's not the right way to go about it either.
Right. I feel like for those who are not quite understanding the structure of the WNBA and why it feels like, oh, this person's on the team, and then all of a sudden they're not. There's only about 156 roster spots in the league. They just added the Golden State Valkyries, but there's still only 13 teams. Most rookies, especially second, later drafted players, get cut, even if they play well. And typically the roster spots go to whoever the coach, front office, whatever, feels like deserves those spots, fits the best with the team for that year. So getting drafted to the WNBA doesn't mean that you 100% will get a roster spot the day the season starts. While you're in training camp, you're kind of still trying out to be a part of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Lexie, what's it like mentally as a player to go through training camp with these players knowing that there's an opportunity for them not to make the team?
It's like a mental battlefield. And I say I'm year 8. I know I sound like a broken record. Year 8, this is the first season that I went into a training camp not fighting for a spot. So every year until this past year, I went into camp fighting for a roster spot. So you come in, and I'll talk it from a rookie perspective. You come in considered one of the best players in college. There's thousands of college basketball players, and you're one of the best. We have All-Americans, Player of the Year, first team All-Conference. Like, these are the players that are getting drafted, super talented. You come into this environment, and now you're playing with Olympians, you're playing with WNBA champions, you're playing with MVPs. And now you're just kind of like, where do I fit in? And what do I need to do to like make the players that are already there look good? That's the first thing you got to do. If you come in and you make them look bad and you make the whole unit look bad, like, your chances are zero. So as a young player, that's a hard thing to navigate. You go from being everything about you, making mistakes, never coming out of the game, all these things, and you come into a situation where for a lot of these players, this is the first time that they've had a short leash. So you just navigating that as a young player is very difficult, and it's hard. And you can do everything right. 90% of these rookies and these players that are getting cut come into camp and do everything that they're supposed to do. They make the right plays. They knock down their shots. They stay extra for shooting. They get their lifts in. And sometimes it just doesn't work out for them. And that's a hard pill to swallow. And it's not easy. And I don't want anybody to look at these players and be like, oh, just bounce back. Like, you'll get over it. Like, it's okay to feel disappointed. It's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel confused. Like, oh, I did everything that they asked me to do. Like, I did not do one thing that they said. Like, I did everything. Like, those are all very valid feelings. But the best thing about this is, like, it's not the end of the world. Like, there's still so many opportunities. It's a long season. Hardship contracts, like, we're not even gonna get into that. We probably will get into that later in the season because I don't want to confuse people. But, like, you get waived at the beginning of the year, you get waived in a training camp, like, your journey is still just beginning. Like, there's still opportunities for you, but you still gotta put your head down and work. And it's not easy. I've been through it. y'all can throw out a random situation in the WNBA. I've probably experienced it. So, I mean, that's what it was like for me when I got waived. Like, we'll get into my individual story later, but it happens, and it happens to a lot of players.
Like Lexie said, keep in mind there's only about 150 spots in the whole WNBA, thousands of college basketball players, and everyone who's even getting drafted to the WNBA was likely the best player on their college team. So they're going from a situation where the team is built for them, they're playing all the time, to, like Lexie said, being just a part of a system with Olympians and MVPs. And with those 150 spots, I'm not saying there's 150 spots for people coming in. There's 150 spots that are currently being occupied by WNBA players. So it's a hard fight, and it's hard for them to make those decisions. I don't envy teams for that, because fans are going to be mad regardless. Because you fall in love with the college players, you fall in love with their game, you fall in love with the story of them getting drafted to this certain team. And a lot of fans still are learning that that does not mean that she's going to be on the team when the season starts.
Absolutely. And it's hard because the most common comment I see under these announcements is like, well, why did you post her so much? Or why did you let her do media day? Well, what you want them to exclude them from being a part of a team, because they are in fact part of the team while they're there. No, like you.
Also, the social media team didn't waive them.
Exactly. I know this. I talk to our social media girl in LA all the time, because I was like, she would get her feelings hurt about the comments left, and it's not even her page, it's the Sparks page. And she would always be like, those comments are like, they're nasty. And I'm like, well, don't let that bother you. Like, it's not like they're not talking to you, they're talking to the Sparks. Like, they're not attacking you, but like, guys, be nice to the admin, okay? Like, they're just doing what they're told, okay? Like, it's not
right. They're gonna post
fault.
The best content,
right? Like,
they don't have a choice if it's a rookie or they don't know.
They don't know any better. So if like it's you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But when I got waived from the Sky, our last day of cuts was our media day. So I went through an entire practice, got cut, and then they had media day. So I didn't even get to do media day in Chicago. So in hindsight, I was like, good. I'm glad I didn't do media day, because why would you make me do media day when I'm about to get cut? But in the moment, I was like, damn, y'all didn't even let me do media day. Like, y'all didn't even let me like get my picks off or anything like that. So it's like, in hindsight, I'm like, okay, I'm glad I didn't have to go through that and get really excited about the season. But in that moment, I was like really hurt by the fact that I didn't even get to participate in that, because at that moment I didn't feel valued. So I'm hoping, not saying that if you don't do media day, because some teams do wait till after, like that's just a choice. Again, that has nothing to do with the players or anything. So I love when they include everybody in the media days, because you want to feel like a pro. Media days are fun, and it's a good way to get to know your teammates, and you get to take cute pictures, and like everybody deserves that. You did get drafted, you got signed to a training camp, like you deserve to be treated like the professional athlete that you are. So I hate when fans get mad about that kind of stuff. I think it's dumb.
Lexie, what's the vibe like in training camp, at least this year, with you being a vet, not being concerned about getting cut? But are people competing against each other or trying to bond?
I think it's a mixture of both. And I also think it depends on what type of team you have. So like, I'll use our team as an example. We have a lot of veterans on our team. So going into camp, there was kind of an idea of what our team was going to look like, but there were still spots to be earned. So yes, there's certain moments where you need to set yourself apart from somebody that you're potentially competing against. We're also all competing for minutes and things like that. So like, for example, I'll use myself as an example. We have a shooting drill leaderboard thing. My goal is I need to be on top of that shooting drill leaderboard all summer, no matter what. Like, that's my personal goal. One of my personal goals for the season is to stay on top of the shooting leaderboard for the drills, because that's something that I can come in and do. And off days, I can do it after practice. That's something that I can keep tabs with myself, that I'm still locked in, that I still want to be considered one of the top shooters in the league. And that's how I hold myself accountable. So for us, it's like little mini competitions like that. We scrimmage a lot. Our scout guys have been amazing. And then for us, like our vibes, like we've been very like locked in, very about our shit from day one. And I have loved every minute of it. But that didn't make the roster cuts even like easier. Like the rookies and the free agents that they brought in like fit seamlessly into our culture, seamlessly into our environment. And this was like one of the first seasons where I'm like, damn, like I wish we could keep everybody here. Like that's how fire the vibes were during our camp. So today, getting the last of those cuts like happening, like it was really sad. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I was like sitting in my locker, like, I wanted to cry. Like, I almost started crying. Like, I was like, this is really sad. Because you see like dreams like just shattered. Like, but like I said, they're not shattered, but in that moment, it just feels like everything is just like coming crashing down. And it's just like, oh, well, what do I do now? But I told them, I said, y'all just stay ready, but enjoy your summer. Like, don't get consumed by this. There's 24 hours in a day. You can get your work in and still enjoy your life and enjoy your summer. And if that call comes, which it will for a lot of these players that have gotten waived, because we see it every season that they need to be ready. And if you have a good showing at camp, you have a good attitude, you're a good teammate, that word travels. So you might not get called back to the team that you got waived from, but another team might inquire about you. And if you had a good showing at camp, then that can work in your favor, and you gonna end up on another team in a few weeks.
What about your experience with, you mentioned a little earlier, you're like, later I'll tell you about when I was waived, but could you give us a little bit more about what that was like for you, and maybe shed some light for those girls who might be like feeling doomsday right now?
Okay, so I've talked about what happened the year I got waived before, but that was a minute ago. So we'll talk about it again. So this was in 2021. So right after our bubble season, I was playing with the Minnesota Lynx. We had a 20-game season. It was short. I got a concussion in the bubble, so I wasn't able to finish the season. I missed some games, and I left the bubble. So we made the playoffs. I had, a handful of really solid games down there. Like I was feeling really good about the season. I was feeling really good about the future with the Lynx, and I was off-season training. So this was the first year that I decided to not go overseas. And I had been overseas the last 2 seasons. And this was season I was like, I don't want to go there anymore. And it was COVID. It was a lot going on. So I was off-season training, and training camp starts approaching, and I'm not hearing anything from the Lynx. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, why don't I have my flight information? Why don't I have my apartment information? Why don't I have anything? So my agent at the time, I had to reach out to him, and I was like, can you find out like what's going on? Because I haven't heard anything, and camp's about to start. And he reaches out, comes back to me, and he's like, oh, they was trying to trade you, but they couldn't get it done, so they're gonna waive you instead. And I was like, what? Waive me for what? Like, I had a great 2 years there. Like, I'm confused. We made the playoffs both years I was there. Like, I was playing well. What the hell? So he tells me I don't get a call, a text, I don't get anything from the organization. Not a single person from the organization said a word to me. That is not normal. Okay. I want to say that right now. The way that went down is not normal. So at this point, I'm in horrible frenzy mode. Now I got to find a training camp. Like at this point, the training camps are filled. So Chicago wasn't my ideal destination, but they had a spot open in camp. So I go to Chicago, and I have a pretty good training camp. Again, I do everything that they asked me to do. I played well in the preseason games, but unfortunately, some things were going on behind the scenes that were out of my control. Some salary cap stuff, some trades went on. Boom, waived again. Get brought into the office. You did everything we asked you to do. You had a good camp. Stay ready. Like that's what Coach Wade said to me. He's like, stay ready. Like that's how I left it. And I was back home that night. I was like, can I go home tonight? I was mad as shit, Mariah. I was so mad. And then I went home, and I was like, I was really upset. And the conversation was, I just got waived twice in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and now I'm at home. And this is only my 3rd season in the league. So at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go play overseas and get it together over there. Like, maybe this league is not for me. Only because I was only feeling that way because of how things went down in Minnesota. I was like, is this how like they do business? Like, is this how it works in this league? Like, you just get waived and nobody tells you why or what you need to improve or what happened. So I was just had like a really bad taste in my mouth at that time. I had signed a contract to go play in Puerto Rico at like the beginning of the fall, I think. Like, I think the season was like September-ish maybe. So I'd ended up signing that because I was like, well, I might as well go play over there. And then I told my agent, like, I'm not doing any temporary hardship contracts either. Like, I'm either going to go back to Chicago if they need me, or I'm going to try and make a team next year. But like, I'm not going to get caught in that cycle of the hardship contracts, which we can get into that. We're going to get into that at some point this season. But so yeah, I went back to training, enjoyed my summer, watched the Chicago Sky go on a little losing streak, and then waited for them to call me, and they did. But I missed half the season, pretty much. So they had to wait for my salary number to go under the cap before they could officially re-sign me for the rest of the season. So yeah, there's a lot of behind the scene things outside of just your play. Like, our salary caps are online. If you guys would like to explore numbers, initiate your own trades, there's all types of stuff you can do on the internet. But sometimes it's quite literally out of your control. So you just can't get super discouraged, and you just got to be ready, because your phone will ring. And if you're not ready, then that might be your shot. And then you can panic if you get your second chance and you're not ready. You're not ready to go. And then that's when you can be like, oh damn, I might have blew this one. So it was a hard experience for me, more of character developing. I'm glad I got to experience Chicago though, that team win a championship. I learned a lot. But then, like, the next year, the same thing happened. Salary cap weirdness. And I was like, I'm not doing this again with y'all. So I held out on my contract, and then they finally traded me to the Sparks. But it's a hard thing, and it's hard to keep up. And I know the fans get frustrated, and I feel it. I feel them. Trust me. I feel y'all.
Yeah, it's not all about what you show in the preseason games. It's about what you show in practice, who you can guard, what the team needs, how much they're paying the players that are already there. It's a lot that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of viral reactions, like you said, to Deja Kelly being at Media Day. And I think that it's great that you shed light on the fact that they might still invite you to Media Day. I'm curious, Lexie, you already touched on this a little bit, but I'm thinking, if it were me, would I rather go and get the pictures? And I'm also thinking, what if you got your hair done? Like, I would be so tight. If you got your hair done for Media Day. Oh.
Well, the funny thing about the Media Day, even in Chicago, like, I knew I was about to get cut. I didn't even like get my hair done or anything for Media Day. I already knew. Like, I knew it was coming.
Well, if they invited you, you would have been sick.
Yeah, so I already knew what was going on. But again, like, you have to embrace those moments and show that you are a good culture piece. Like, Deja is an incredible player. She went undrafted. So we're already talking about 2nd and 3rd round picks having a very slim to none shot of making the team. An undrafted player, the chances are even slimmer. But for her to have the showing that she had with the time that she was given was game-changing for her. So people have been able to take note of what she brings to a team, her talent level, which for me, her going undrafted was mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling. And the fact that she took complete advantage of that opportunity instead of getting her feelings or feeling slighted, she let it motivate her, and she came out and she had a great showing. Like, she's going to be in this league. If it's not this season, next season, like, Deja Kelly belongs in the WNBA. So for her to take that hard moment, on draft night and come into the Aces camp, which is not an easy camp by any means, and have the confidence to come out, hit a game winner, shine bright at media day. Like, she didn't have to do any of that. She could have, went through media day and BS'd it and not, embraced the environment and the experience. And like that's a pro, whether you make the team or not. Like, that's how you operate as a professional. So I'm devastated for her. You have the list right here. Cheyenne Sellers waived twice. She going through the same thing as me. You get waived twice. Like, that's a gut punch. Like, I know how you feel, Cheyenne. Bree Hall, South Carolina, waived from the Fever. She's actually handling it very well. If any of you have seen her TikToks.
Yes, I think we're going to post it on our Instagram just so everybody can see
same with Harmony.
When this episode comes out. But
yeah, same with Harmony from Harvard. She posted a funny TikTok about it. Like, I think a lot of these players understand the cutthroat nature of this, but the fact that you still have to operate as a pro, and that's important. You got to play the game, and it's a game within a game. It's a business. But your reputation means a lot, and it carries you a lot until you find that environment and that opportunity that allows you to be yourself, allows you to shine, allows you to develop. So I'm actually proud of this young group, because they're handling it way better than I handled my getting waived. I was mad as shit.
You were like, send me home.
I was like, when's the first flight out of here? Like, whatever. But I did leave a good enough impression for when they needed to bring me back. They were able to, because I could have made an ass of myself on the way out, and then you need me. And they're like, well, Lexie acted like this. We're not bringing her in here, because she's still not going to play when we bring her here. She's going to be a culture piece, and she's going to be a practice player. And we need to make sure that she's going to bring good energy and good effort, and she's going to work hard when we bring her here, whether she plays 5 minutes or the whole game. And that's kind of the impression you got to leave in those situations. And it's not easy to do that. So it's a tough week. And I hate that, it's Monday right now. This episode will drop on a Wednesday. We'll have a game on Friday, and people are still going to be reeling from the players getting waived. And it always puts like a damper on opening week of the season. And I always hate that. I hate the timing of it all. It's hard.
I will say, before we get into preseason or things that to look forward to in the W season, I'm curious, as far as the players that were cut or waived, are there any names that stuck out to you that you think might get picked up mid-season, might do well overseas, deserve more time? Anybody that stuck out to you particularly?
Based on what I did peep in preseason, I think that point guards, I'm not sure how many point guards, got waived from their camps. There's a lot of teams that probably will need a point guard or a backup point guard as the season goes on. Nobody's name in particular stuck out. But again, like, it's all situational. Like, if your roster goes under 8 because of injuries or illness, like, it doesn't have to be season ending injuries either. You just have to be out for an extended amount of time, and then you get eligible for these hardship contracts. So it really just depends on what happens throughout the season. So, like, yeah, I'm talking about some teams are going to need point guards, but, this X player goes down, that's not a point guard, and you got to go grab somebody to fill that spot. So all these players got to stay ready, honestly, and that's the reality of it. And that's why, for me, I wish we would expand rosters before we expanded teams, which I'm so happy that we're expanding teams. But
that's a good shout.
But the roster spots, we're starting our season with 10 players. So, yeah, that might seem like a lot of players, but like over the 44 game season, that's not a lot of players at all. I'm hoping that in our CBA negotiations, like, yes, our salaries are going to increase, God willing. Salary cap is going to increase, God willing. And hopefully it won't be a hard cap anymore. I'm hoping that as a collective, the 1%ers will be like, you know what? We don't need to make X amount. We can make a little less than that. Still a lot, what we all deserve, but maybe a little more, so we can give that money to 2 more roster spots instead. So that
makes a lot of sense too, because right now you said there's 10 players.
Yes.
That's only enough to scrimmage.
Exactly.
And with nobody on the bench.
Exactly. Scrimmage with no subs. Right?
Right. I'm like, what?
So thank the Lord we have practice players. Like, they're so amazing and so integral to team successes, because you do have teams carrying 10, 11 players. Teams that, there are some that carry 12, but like, yeah, you have 3 games in 4 days. You have 3 players that play 30, 35 minutes. They're not practicing the next day. So now we have 7 players in practice. So
yeah, that's a good shout. I never thought about that, because I've always felt like, obviously adding all the new teams is exciting because I want more people to have an opportunity. Like, there's so many talented women's basketball players in the world that want to play in the WNBA and simply can't because there's not enough spots. But adding teams doesn't really, I mean, it does benefit adding roster spots for more players, but the teams that are in the WNBA right now, I feel like would benefit more from having
more spots,
more roster spots.
And you think about it, you look at the Valkyries, almost that entire roster is full of players that are already in this 144 bucket. So that team didn't create 12 new spots. It created like 3 or 4 new spots, really, because you already have WNBA players on the team. So yeah, again, don't get me wrong, so excited for the expansion teams. Like, I can't wait to go play in Golden State. Like, it's an exciting time for the W. But I've heard it in every locker room that I've been in, like, we need more roster spots. But I feel like that's going to be on the players, because we're going to be able to decide how the money is going to be distributed amongst a salary cap. So we'll rewind. For y'all who don't know what a salary cap is, in the most simple terms, we'll say that the salary cap is a pie. Okay, your favorite pie. And everybody's salaries is a slice of the pie, okay? So your top player might get like a fourth of the pie. I'll say your top 2 or 3 players will get 25% of the pie, goes to 3 people. And then you got to split the rest of the pie up amongst 8 to 10 people, depending on how big the 25% is. So when you break it down simple like that, like, okay, do those 3 players really need 25%? Maybe they can get 22% of the pie. Maybe they can get 23% of the pie. Because when you break it down to percentages like that, like, because 10% of 100,000 is still $10,000? Like, that's still a lot of money. So you take a little bit from the top over here, you take a little bit of the top over here, you take a little bit of the top over here. Oh, boom, you have a minimum veteran contract. Boom. So I'm hoping like those are the conversations that are had, especially with this 44 game season. I know a lot of teams are going to feel it about halfway through.
Before you get clipped, because I can feel it, Lexie is not saying cut this fourth of the pie that is going to the top 3 players to give to her. Okay?
No,
she's saying,
don't give it to me.
She's saying cut that part of the pie, because that little slice of the pie that is taken away from the top 2 players on the roster could be a piece of pie for another player.
For 2 players that are not on the team yet.
Exactly. For these players that you guys are crying about getting waived, yeah, they could have a spot if that were to occur. So I just wanted to make it clear that you're not being selfish in that sense, trying to take a piece of the pie.
Hey, I'm happy with my piece of the pie right now. Okay, don't get me wrong.
Exactly.
I'm very content with my piece of the pie. I love my piece of the pie. Okay, I just want more people to be able to enjoy this beautiful, delicious pie. That's all.
And I will say, going into that, the top 1 or 2 players, I would say on just about every team in the W, have a lot of opportunities as far as being the face of the franchise and doing other things that I feel like most of them would be willing to sacrifice 1% of their WNBA salary to allow for more backup spots and more help, especially with more games being added to the schedule.
And this is a completely different conversation than we had of when we said players should never accept less money to benefit the team to get a championship. This is a completely different conversation. The money that we're talking about doesn't exist yet. We don't know how much it's going to be. No one has had access to it. No one knows what it looks like. No one knows what it feels like. So this hypothetical money that we're talking about is money that none of us have ever even had. This is not the money that you have earned already. Like, the top earners still are going to be the top earners. But like, again, like, we don't know what the ceiling is for the top earners. So this is a completely separate conversation. Like, I do not want any player to ever be like, nah, I'm gonna take less money, so we can go get this player and stack up a team. Like, if a player wants to do that, shout out to them. Like, that's amazing. But if a player doesn't want to do that, I completely understand that. But for this hypothetical
100%.
ceiling that we're talking about, that could potentially expand these roster spots and give more players opportunities on top of the expansion teams, I don't see why that's not an idea that we would visit. If it doesn't pan out that way, like, cool, that is what it is. But like, it's definitely a conversation that should be had, because we do need roster expansion. Like, because the waving of the players, the lack of development of these young players, it's hard, and it doesn't make sense, because these players do need development. And you can't depend on going overseas. You can't depend on Unrivaled. You can't depend on Athletes Unlimited, because it's not the W. So yes, you can get great experience. You can get confidence playing overseas. You can get confidence playing Unrivaled and Athletes Unlimited. But that confidence, from firsthand, I've played overseas. I've played Athletes Unlimited. I haven't played Unrivaled. But that confidence that you get, and you come play with the big dogs again in the W, you're like, oh, damn, okay. Let me tighten up. And then also, you become, you could be a star here. You come into the W, you fit a role. You're a specialist. You are a glue player. Like, there's just different things that you have to experience, and different ways you help a team win when you're in a league this talented. So it's very important for these players to stay in proximity to it, because if they still want to be a part of it, some players be like, that was cool. I'm cool off of it. And that's completely understandable too. I get that. But there is a level of proximity that needs to be had for these players to be able to continue to grow and learn and develop and be able to earn a spot in the W. Because it's the hardest league in the world to make. I stand on that. It really is.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Speaking of this very difficult league, even though preseason doesn't define the teams as far as what we're going to see throughout the new 44-game schedule, we still need to talk about it, because going into the WNBA season, which tips off on Friday, I want the fans of the W to have your perspective and my perspective on what to expect, what you're looking forward to, the teams to watch, the teams that might have some improvement, whatever. So the WNBA released their power rankings today from preseason.
Let's hear it.
Yes. And I've been looking, but you want to hear the top?
Yeah, I don't know.
The 13
I don't know
order?
them. I haven't seen it.
Okay, awesome. Okay. So in the first place, the New York Liberty. And in second place, and then we'll get into a little later kind of what's going on with some of the teams. But in second place, the Minnesota Lynx. Third place, the Las Vegas Aces. And fourth place, the Seattle Storm.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Top five. I know that's right. Okay. And then in fifth place, the Indiana Fever. Sixth, the Phoenix Mercury. The seventh team is the Atlanta Dream. Oh, that rhymes. The eighth team is the Chicago Sky. Ninth is the Dallas Wings. 10th is the Los Angeles Sparks. 11th is the Mystics. 12th is the Sun. And 13th is the Valkyries.
Okay. That's a pretty solid list, I think. Yeah, you're going to have the two teams that were in the finals as 1 and 2. That makes sense that they didn't have any changes. So, like, they were at the top of the league last year. So, obviously, you would assume that they're going to be at the top this year. We said Vegas looked very ready to run it back with a championship in their preseason game. Very excited to see us at 4, but I think the Storm finished 5th last year. So, like, that sounds about right. It kind of looks like they just looked at last season's rankings from the end of the year and just put it...
and just redid it.
And just redid it and put the Mystics, and they just put the Valkyries last. Yeah, okay. I'm okay with that list. That's a very decent list. Like I said, preseason, you can't really read too much into it. Um, who did I watch? I mean, I watched all the games. I think that, let me see in my notes. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. So Valkyries, first preseason win in history. So shout out to them. They shot 43s. So
I'm laughing because it's their first preseason in history. Like, yeah.
But they won. They lost their last game. So it's their first win.
That's true.
Their first official preseason win. They shot 43. So, we know what goes on in the Bay with the Golden State Warriors. So it seems like they're going to take on that similar personality, shooting a lot of threes.
Which makes sense because that's what the fans
are used to it. Like I said, Natalie knows what she's doing up there. Like there is a level of entertainment factor that you got to factor in when you're building a team and trying to win games. Completely new roster, new coach, new city. I mean, I think, it's rude to be like, there's not really much expectation for them, but like, that's literally like, there is no expectation because the team didn't exist before. I think they're going to be better than people think though, from after watching them. I think Van Loo is going to be a very important piece to that because her passing ability, there's a lot of offensive weapons on that team, and the way she sets up her teammates is really elite. So I was very impressed with their second game. They have a rookie on the team.
Yes, they played Phoenix.
I think she's 30, so I'm sure that's going to be thrown in everybody's face the entire season, that we have another 30-year-old rookie from overseas. She was very impressive. So don't sleep on the Valkyries. And they got the home crowd advantage. So their games are going to be packed out. So just off that alone, that gives them a huge advantage. So I'm really excited to go play there. The crowd was amazing. The atmosphere was amazing. So don't sleep on the Valkyries, even though they ranked them last. I don't think they're going to finish dead last. I really don't.
Well, the Valkyries have their first game on Friday against the Sparks, who beat them by 1 point in the preseason. So we've got a Cali battle happening on Friday. So
that's just so cool. Two teams.
What about the
Cali.
Connecticut Sun?
So they actually beat the Liberty in New York, which again, preseason. So don't get too high on that and don't get too low on the Liberty. Since we played them in the preseason, they looked better in that game than they did when they played us. Marina Mabry played, and she's going to be obviously one of the focal points of their offense. I think that the Sun saw a need at their point guard position, and they signed Bria Hartley to a training camp contract. But I can foresee them signing her for the entire season. She played in Athletes Unlimited, had a great season, went to UConn, a very elite point guard out in New York, dealing with some injuries. So it's really exciting to see her back in the W. That's something that we talked about a lot while we were in Nashville. She really wanted to get back into the league and prove herself. So I'm really excited for that. And she's been in the league before. She's played at a high level. So I think that addition changes a lot for the Sun, another team that I don't think are going to be as bad as people think. So I was impressed. You preseason means different things for different teams. And I think that was a really good win for them to go into the first game of the year with a win over the Liberty in New York. So shout out to them. Also, there was news today that they're looking to sell the team, which nobody thought that they was going to come up off the Sun. So there was no comment from the team or anything, but apparently that's the new rumor, is that the Sun, they're trying to sell them, which to me, send them to Boston. I'm a Boston girl. I would love to have a team in Boston, but we'll see how that pans out. But that was the news that dropped right before we got on to record, was that they were looking to sell the team. So who's next? Who is 11th?
Next, we've got the Mystics, who we've talked about before being for rookies that are having their step up, basically. Shout out to Kiki Iriafen, who had 12 points. And it was a loss, but she showed some promising moments. So I wanted to give her a little shout out.
Yeah.
Not much is expected from the Mystics this year.
And it's hard for veterans on that team that, go there and the team looks one way. 2 years later, it's a completely different situation. So, you have that type of sympathy for those veterans. But again, it's like, this is a perfect opportunity for you to work on things, to, you know, get numbers, be a veteran, be a leader, work on your leadership. I do see a big year coming from Aaliyah Edwards, though. I don't know why. I don't know. That one-on-one matchup with Stewie kind of like, it's something in my brain. I'm like, oh, Aaliyah Edwards is one of them ones. So I'm really excited for her. She did not play in that preseason game due to an injury, I want to say, or resting, whatever. She didn't play, but I'm sensing a big year for her. She had a really great rookie season. And yeah, the Mystics, they held their own against the Dream, and they have the babies on the team. They're a team full of rookies. But again, everybody is in this league for a reason. You cannot sleep, regardless of what number they have next to their name. You cannot sleep on a single team in this league. Everybody in this league is good enough to win a game on any given night. So shout out to the Mystics, and shout out to my vets on that team, because it's not going to be easy, but y'all could really, you know, show a little something. But okay, next.
And next, let's talk about the La La Land Sparks. I have them 1-0 for the preseason, but breaking news from Lexie Brown, they are 1-1.
They are 1-1.
Obviously they have their first game against the Valkyries on Friday. Lexie, what have you seen from them? Obviously, based on what I've seen, the shining spot of their preseason was Rickea Jackson.
And I will second that based on our scrimmage. And I won't say anything else, but baby girl been in the gym. She's
one of them ones.
She's expanded her game. So I'm really excited to see the leap that she takes. Again, a lot of new faces on that team, new coaching staff, new head coach. So there are gonna be some growing pains, but it's nice to see them turning the page. You know, that the offense is completely different. It was kind of weird, like watching your old team and like nothing is the same. Everything is different. So they are really leaning into this new era of LA basketball. So, you know, I'm glad that we got the win, but you know, they look solid, but I see Rickea having a really, really good season. So I'm really excited for her.
Let's talk about Dallas. Obviously, they got the #1 pick. Everybody's been super excited and high on seeing them. They opened up their preseason with a 37-point loss to the Aces, and then swung around for a big win a week later. All eyes have been on Paige, but what have you been seeing from Dallas?
I mean, we talked about the Paige Arike synergy, and that's going to be so important. And you could kind of see on Arike's face, like, this is probably some of the easiest scoring that she's had. You know, she's so used to kind of doing it all on herself. Like, she's probably one of the best one-on-one ISO players in the league. And she's had to perfect that because she hasn't really had too many people that are able to set the table for her and score on their own. So watching them build their chemistry over time is going to be really fun. And they look like from what I see from the outside looking in, they look like they're enjoying the process. And I think that's so important because it is going to be a process. So just seeing those two build their chemistry, and then their accessory pieces are going to be super important. And you know what Dejanay is going to bring, you know what Alyssa's going to bring. So it's going to be an exciting season. I think they're going to be fun to watch. They're our second game of the season, so we're going to see them very early. And see what they're talking about. So again, Dallas, another team that I'm going to say this about every team. Not every team is not going to be as bad as you think, but like, that's funny because last year everyone thought we were going to be bad and we were just as bad as everybody thought. But we went through a lot of stuff that you made that a thing. But, you know, I'm not going to say anybody's going to be bad because who am I to say that about any team? But a lot of changes in Dallas, and you can see their chemistry growing and growing. And I think they're going to just enjoy the process and kind of just roll with it. And that kind of just seems to be the energy over there. So I'm excited for Paige's rookie campaign. I think we all are.
Me too. Let's move on to somewhere you've been before, Chi-Town.
Chi-Town.
Angel visited LSU again on May 2nd for the Skies preseason opener against the Brazilian national team. We shouted them out because, wow, to come from Brazil and to play all these WNBA teams, very impressive for them. Angel played, I think, like 17 minutes, and I actually watched this, and she had 15 and 10, a double-double as we're used to seeing. So, and Angel has expressed that if need be, she's willing to play point guard for the Sky if that is what they are asking her to do. So Angel seems really ready to win.
They are. Their last game,
wow.
Bringing the
point
ball
forward.
up the court. Point forward. There was a little bit of a misunderstanding of our breakdown of the Chicago Sky as to their limitations of their offense or lack of limitations, I should say. Nobody's offense is limited because, like I said, everybody is in this league for a reason. We expressed that last season, the offense that they ran was not successful. Obviously, you didn't make the playoffs. That's the definition of not a successful season. We said that there was going to be a need for versatility at the post position, and we are seeing it happen in real time. And the player that they chose to become the versatile post is Angel, like most of us probably expected. She's a great passer. She has pretty high IQ. Now, her being on the perimeter, that takes her away from the basket. So that comes with being a versatile player. Like, you're not going to be able to be in there crashing the boards all the time. Camilla is their center. They've made that known.
I was about to say, Camilla, at least they have a 6'8".
You are 6'8". You're not going to waste 6'8" trying to make her the versatile one. So I think Angel is accepting that challenge. We saw clips of her bringing the ball up the court, all these other things. It's possible. I didn't say that it wasn't possible. It was a matter of, are they going to do it because of the season that she had last year playing back to the basket? So I think that we're going to see a major leap in her game. It might not show on the stats initially. People are probably going to be like, well, where are her rebounds at? Well, she's busy facilitating at the top. So it's going to be a pick and choose at times. Sometimes she's going to go get them rebounds. Sometimes she's going to get all the assists. Sometimes she's going to get both. I would not be surprised if she gets a triple-double this season. That would not surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me. Because of the way that
if Angel starts putting up triple-doubles like she does double-doubles, people going to have to start putting a whole different type of respect on her name.
I'm not putting it past her because of the way I've seen that offense move. And the scores that they have now, the scoring threats that they have everywhere. A very underrated player on that team is Rachel Banham. If y'all didn't know, Rachel Banham put up 60 points in college. Like, woo! Rachel Banham is a problem, okay? So you have a player like that. You have a player like Ariel Atkins. You have a floor general like Courtney Vandersloot. This is a very dangerous team. So I don't want there to be any misconceptions of what we think that the ceiling is for the Sky, especially after what we've seen in preseason, is that the offense is not going to look like how it looked last year. And that's all I was saying is, where are they going to make the tweaks at? And we're seeing the tweaks happening in real time. So again, my favorite thing about being a professional athlete is seeing the growth and development of players year to year to year. And that's what we're going to see. I mean, even Camilla looks more comfortable. She had a great season overseas in China. So I'm excited for that team as well. Y'all can clip that since y'all want to clip everything else. So
I know. I got a comment that was like, I used to like your podcast until I found out you guys were Angel Reese haters. I was like, y'all must have never watched a video of me a day in your life.
No, and I want to reiterate this over and over and over. This is not a lifestyle opinion show. This is a basketball show, and we're going to talk about basketball things and things that we see in the game and stats and analytics and all things that have to do with things within the 94 feet. Nothing else. So if y'all don't want to hear about real basketball talk, if I go 5 for 5 from 3 one game, I'm coming on here saying it. If I go 0 for 5 for one game, I'm coming on here and saying it. Like, that's what we're doing here. These are the conversations that need to be had. If we're wrong about something, I'm going to come on here and be like, damn, we was wrong. And you better believe if I'm right, if we right about something, I'm coming on here saying we were right, guys. But that's not what this is about. This is about growing the game and helping people understand the game and love the game for what it is. Basketball is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful sport, and I love watching it, and I love watching it being played well, and I love watching it develop and grow and mirror what the NBA is doing. Every year, the NBA, it's growing. Growth mindset, people. That's what we're here for. Growth mindset. And
Amen.
the WNBA is
Speaking
growing.
of growth, Speaking of growth and the Chicago Sky, before we move on to the Atlanta Dream, do you see the Sky in the playoffs this year?
I do. I do see them. What is it? 8 teams out of 13? I do.
They're an 8 in the preseason power rankings. So
I see them.
If things go as they did in the...
Like I said, you have Courtney Vandersloot and Ariel Atkins. Those are 2 WNBA champs right there. So the playoffs is definitely a thing. I think we didn't call them contenders, did we? I don't think so. But still making the playoffs is absolutely possible for sure. Yeah. Yes.
And then a quick take on these next 2 teams before we get into the top 5 and kind of blow through them, because I think we've talked at length about most of the top 5 teams in our last couple episodes. If you haven't listened to those, go ahead and listen. But let's talk about the Atlanta Dream. It is a little weird seeing Brittany Griner, even though it's my city, in a Dream jersey after spending 11 seasons with Phoenix. But the Brittany that we saw is the same old Brittany that we're used to seeing.
But she's shooting threes now.
Yeah.
Y'all saw that?
Plus that.
Threes. She's not hesitating. She actually shot 50% from 3 last year. I read it today. 9 for 18 all season last year. And I think she's already taken 4 in the preseason games. So
that's dangerous.
That is extremely dangerous. And they also shot 43s in their game against the Fever, their last preseason game, which only was a shocking stat because the Fever, who we have expected to shoot a ton of threes, only shot 23 in that game. And I probably will say that because they didn't play most of their starters a lot of the game, which is the bulk of their 3-point shooting. But the fact that the Dream got up 43s is scary, because we did talk about, you have 2 all-star bigs and BG and Brianna Jones, and they're stepping out, taking threes. So
the theme here seems to be that we were curious about these teams that were bigger and what they were going to do with that size they had and then how they were going to find versatility. And it seems like with the Sky, they found that in Angel being willing to bend and play in a little bit of a different role than we're used to seeing her, the double-double princess. And then now with the Dream, seeing Brittany Griner shooting threes. She had 16 and 10 in 19 minutes. So yeah, Brittany's looking good.
Yeah.
All right.
She's looking good.
And Phoenix, another team that we had some questions about.
Still
no wins in the preseason.
Still have the same questions. Who is the point guard?
No one's in the preseasons.
Who is the point guard?
What do you think?
AT is going to be their floor general. But being a point forward is still a very hard thing to do, but it's still not a point guard. Like, there's so many other things that go into being a point guard. And then the way this league is going, we have a lot of scoring point guards that can score at all 3 levels, 3s, 2s, and at the rim. So we all know that AT, as dynamic and incredible she is, her range is extremely limited. So I don't know what that means. If that's your point guard, like, I don't know what that means as far as spacing for the rest of your team. She looked great in their preseason games. Satu looked really good in their preseason games. She's shooting the ball great. Didn't see Ka too much. She didn't play in their second preseason game. But again, those were the question marks, was how are their role players and their accessory pieces gonna mesh with the big 3? It seems like Phoenix is like big 3 land. Like, they're one of the franchises that have been really trying to get this big 3 right. So, I mean,
they doing that in the MNBA too.
Yeah.
Lord help them.
No, exactly. It seems like Phoenix is big 3 land. So, that's our home opener. So we're going to be watching a lot of film and stuff on them in the next few days. So again, Phoenix is always an amazing place to play in. They always have great fans. So like they're always going to be in a good position because they're home. They have a real home court advantage. And they're really excited for this new group that's playing, which that's really exciting to see and awesome to see. But again, like even on the telecast, they're like they don't have a true point guard. So those waived players that I was talking about, you know, Phoenix is definitely a destination I could see being like, damn, we probably need to go get a point guard. Not saying that what they have now is not going to work. It's impossible to work, but you need a point guard. So the big three did look great. They looked very elite, very top tier. I was super impressed with my girl, Natasha Mack. Great rim protection. And we talked about how Phoenix probably will lock into their defense. And the key to a great defense is a great rim protector. So she's going to be a key piece to that defense, blocking shots and getting rebounds. So again, I mean, we still same question marks we had before. But yeah, that's our home opener on Saturday is in Phoenix. So we're going to see them firsthand, what they talking about and what they look like with the lights bright. So shout out to Phoenix.
And then let's get into these top 5. These are teams we've talked about at length and really don't have as many flaws as the last few teams that we've talked about. But in the top 5, we have first the Indiana Fever, who we saw play the Brazilian national team. They swept their preseason. They're looking pretty good. We didn't see too much, as Lexie mentioned, of their starters to be making like a excellent assessment, but they still won all their preseason games.
Yeah, I mean, they look good. Caitlin Clark looks really good. The shots that she's making and taking are insane, as expected. She probably will lead the league in assists again. I think Sloot will be very close behind her. And then, yeah, I think it's going to be the 3-way race like it has been the last few years of Sloot, AT, and then Caitlin Clark now that she's in the league is going to be up there for sure. Shit, I'm going to throw Skylar in there as well with the weapons that we have on our team now. You know, she's always top 5 or 6 in assists per game, I think. DB came off the bench in their second preseason game. I don't know why. I don't know if that's anything that anybody should keep an eye out on, but I did notice that. But they want to play with pace. They want to run. Their defense looks better. I think Sophie was a great addition to that team. And Lexie Hall comes off the bench and gives them great energy. So I think they have a very well-rounded team. Now it's all about, you know, managing personalities and egos, which I don't think on that group is going to be a problem. So I think that they're going to have a really fun and exciting year. And again, like I saw that they had like shirts that were like sold out. They like were going like on tour, which I think is so fire, even though I'm not supposed to say that. But like the fact that you're selling out road arenas is so crazy. And they're leading into that. I think last year they're kind of like, we're trying to like be like, you know, it's not that big of a deal. No, that is a big deal. That you're making teams move arenas because there's too many fans. Like,
and selling those out too.
That's a big deal. So I really like that they're leaning into that mentality and mindset.
But can I just say, as a WNBA fan, that's what we want.
Exactly.
Like
this is
so exciting. Like I love that. I'm not of the mindset like, yeah, obviously the whole purpose of the show is to bring attention to other players in the league and things that aren't being covered elsewhere. But I do want to give flowers where flowers are due. That shit is hard. Like that is so cool. And it's like Beyonce selling out arenas all over the country. It's not like I'm not going to go to concerts for other people and I'm not supporting other artists, but I'm still going to look at that dominance and be like, that's fucking
cool.
Sick. And so like to see this happening.
And as a player, why would we not want to play in a packed out arena? Like, what? Right. That's what we worked our whole lives for. That's what we look forward to is playing in packed out arenas. So as players, like, yeah, like you're kind of like, you want to, you know, shut them up because like, damn, like you coming over our trap, taking over our trap. Don't like that. But like the people are there.
But that's fun.
It's fun.
Like, that's fun. I guess if you're one of those players who likes to be a villain, and I was like literally in high school, but I was always that way as an athlete. Like I like when people like going into another arena and like shutting up their fans. Like that's so fun.
It is so fun. Like it's just like certain like things that you feel as an athlete that is very hard to explain unless you've experienced it yourself. And I think that's one of those things when you come on a home team's court and you just like suck the life out of it. Like that's how I felt when I played in Phoenix, when I had a really good game in Phoenix and we won in overtime. Like the crowd, it was like silence. And you're just kind of like, yeah, we did that. We did that. Time to okay, let's go though before they start booing and throwing stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Like pack up the bus. Like, I gotta get out of here.
Time to go.
Speaking of time to go, we gotta let these people get out of here. So we're gonna speed through the top 4. But first, before we get into speed mode, the Seattle Storm, Lexie.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've talked at length about your team, how deep you guys are. You guys swept preseason as well. It has you listed as 1-0, but based off of broken news here on Full Circle, they're 2-0. But I want to hear from you specifically because we know about what we have to look forward to from the Storm, from listening to the show. What are your goals specifically for your team, yourself, for the season?
My goals are to thrive in my role, which all of our roles were presented to us today in a very cute PowerPoint presentation, which I have never experienced that before on a team. These are y'all's roles, and y'all all are going to know everybody else's roles. So when you lacking, we all can hold that person accountable. When I'm lacking, everyone can hold me accountable because we all know what we all are supposed to bring to the table. So for me,
genius handling of such a deep team.
For me as a player, I was like in awe this morning. Like we had a literal PowerPoint presentation of our roles. And I think that is so important, especially coming from a place where my role was changing every day and no one actually even knew their role. And that is a very hard group of players to coach and get, aligned. So for me, we all know shoot and make threes. Like that is what I'm here to do. That is what I love to do. That's what I'm really good at. But I will not put myself in that box. I just want to do anything I can to help this team win. I want to get invited to the 3-point contest. Like I really want to. So in order for that to happen, first goal, so that's like 1A, 1B. If 1A happens, 1B should happen. Win a championship, of course, is a goal. And just stay right mentally, like, and physically, honestly. Pray every day to stay healthy up here, which is, I'm pointing to my brain for anybody listening. And then, of course, internally. I feel great. I feel amazing mentally and physically right now. So just keeping that up. But yeah, like, making the playoffs would be something that would be amazing. I've been in the playoffs in 3 years. And this is just a really special group. So we don't have to talk. I could talk about our team all freaking day. So we can move on from us. But, we're locked in. We're ready. And we're really excited to get started. So shout out to the
I'm excited.
Shout out to the Storm.
I love it. Okay, speeding through the top 3. The Las Vegas Aces,
who looked very good in their preseason games,
went unbeaten in the preseason. Yeah.
Again, I think it's going to be very hard for Asia to top the season that she had last year. I think the only way that this season will top last season is if they win a championship. She probably is the favorite to win MVP again. And that's a very cool title to have. We are in the midst of her shoe release, which has been like the coolest shoe rollout I've ever seen in my life.
Ever.
My first thought was like, women are just so fire. Like the way our brains work, the way, we are able to sell ideas and dreams to people through a shoe. I've never seen an entire team wear the shoe the day it comes out on a game day, like in the tunnels. Like I just have never seen that before. So, we're supposed to be talking about them on the court. We've talked about them last week, how good they looked in their preseason. They do have a lot of new pieces that they're gonna have their growing pains as well. Keep an eye out on Jackie Young, like I said. Chelsea Gray is in prime Chelsea Gray form, but I don't want to ignore the fact that Asia Wilson's shoe release and drop has been one of the coolest things that I've seen in a long time. So
I just want to say on the shoe release point, I know, again, the show is about basketball and what's happening on the court, but what's happening with Asia and the shoe release is so impactful for the standard of what a shoe release for a women's basketball player should be like going forward. And all of that pageantry surrounding her shoe and all of these other things that happen off the court does contribute to this pageantry of people being so invested and spending money and putting their money where their mouth is and seeing the shoe on the court and all of these things. It just brings more fans in. And I'm glad, even though it took a long time, in my opinion, you're giving shoes to people straight out of college, and she has done all she has done and has deserved a shoe for a minute. But to see it delayed, but to happen so perfectly, like for everything to seem like it took time and every little detail from the barrettes in the commercial to having the team wearing it, everything was just done so well. And not only to address the elephant in the room, like to see a Black woman get what she deserves as far as coverage and as far as Nike putting in that effort, because there is a gap in coverage for Black players and white players in the WNBA. And I'm not saying that as like a fan and as a Black woman, like having an opinion. It's a fact. Like it is studied. It's a fact. It is true. Go Google it yourself. Google's free. But just to see all of the pageantry surrounding the shoe, it's bigger than a shoe. So we're excited for that reason.
Yeah,
like this is big.
Like I feel like the rollout has been like 6 months. But hey, keep going. But I think the best moment for me was seeing like Alicia Gray in it, Tiffany Mitchell in it, in their media day pictures. Like just the genuine support and love and care for this moment is like you said, is bigger than basketball, this moment. So shout out to Asia for that. And then shout out to the Aces because, you know, they're coming for a lot this season. And then shout out to Jewel Lloyd, of course. You know, I know she left Seattle on poor terms, but she wanted to change the scenery, and that's absolutely understandable and fair. So I'm really excited to see what she does on a new team because we've only seen her in a Seattle Storm jersey. So it's going to be different for us guarding her. It's going to be different for us scouting for her. And that's the fun part too, is seeing new players in new environments, and it's a new challenge. So I'm excited to play Vegas. I think we play them 3rd or 4th game. So we're going to see them very soon. So yeah, in Seattle, I'm pretty sure. So that's going to be interesting.
And to close out before we get out of here, let's talk about the championship matchup from last year. We've got the Liberty in first place in preseason power rankings. And in second, we have the Lynx, which is exactly how the season ended last year.
Yep. I mean, there's not really much to say about either one of their teams. They both look almost the exact same. We unfortunately haven't seen K-Mac in the preseason for the Lynx, but I'm really excited to see her season after playing really, really well and unrivaled and then going overseas. I'm sure she is exhausted, so I'm glad that she was able to take this time to rest a little bit and get right mentally and physically. Minnesota got a chip on their shoulder, like we said.
MVP?
She could absolutely win MVP as well. I don't know if they do odds and stuff for that yet, but I mean, if it's not Asia Fee or Fee Asia 1-2, then there's something wrong. She got the rust off preseason game 1, preseason game 2, looked like prime Nafisa Collier that we're all, you know, used to seeing and enjoying to watch. They added Jess Shepard, which a lot of these new fans probably have no idea who Jess Shepard is. She is a perfect accessory player to Nafisa, and I know that because I played with both of them Nafisa's rookie season, and their chemistry on the court was something that was very special, and I really enjoyed being on the court with the both of them. So their chemistry is going to bring the Lynx to another level offensively, I think. And then, you know, you can never count out Cheryl Reeve on that bench. You know, she has 4 championships for a reason. Should have been 5, but, you know, here we are. They're trying to run it back. So this is a very dangerous Lynx squad. Also, shout out Courtney Williams getting into that mid-range bag. I've never seen anything like it. And I'm very excited to guard her this season because it's always a fun matchup for me with Courtney.
And the Liberty?
Let me see. Let's see if they're playing yet. They have a game today in Oregon. Shout out to Sabrina getting, I think it's Sabrina Day at
Yep.
in Oregon. So that's Sabrina Day. Literally Sabrina Day. So
Yep.
shout out to Sabrina.
Paige
for
got a day
that.
too.
Shout out to everyone getting days. Like, what? Like, you get a day, you get a day, you get a day. So shout out to Sabrina for that. That's super dope. The fact that they went and made that happen for her at Oregon, at her university, and then play a game. They don't play till later today. So we'll be able to see the last of the Liberty tonight before the regular season starts. Again, they have Jonquel Jones, Brees Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, brought back Johannes. They're a dangerous squad. They are deep. They're veteran-led. Can't forget about Natasha, Isabel. Now if we talking about a veteran squad, they might have us beat a little bit, the Storm. I don't see why they shouldn't be the favorites. Obviously, the defending champs, and I think they're going to get everybody's best shot. But I'm really excited for their season. I'm excited to see what shenanigans Ellie, the elephant, gets into. Most importantly. But
love her.
This season is going to be lit, y'all. I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited to be healthy for it. I'm so excited to be able to go out there and be my best self again. And whatever happens, I'm just grateful and blessed to be a part of this growth of the W. And yeah, Mariah, anything else? What is one thing that's what I'm excited about this season. What is one thing that you're excited about for this season?
I'm excited about what is that word? I'm literally losing it, but they use it on ESPN every single day to describe sports. But it's like, is it parody? Basically, there's so many teams I feel like can make a deep run.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There we go. We got
I'm a journalism major. I should know that. That's literally my whole role.
I thought you were going to say something like magical, wonderful. You're like, parody, everybody can win. Cool.
Girl,
like a true fan.
I think as you have mentioned a few times throughout this episode, there are so many talented players in the WNBA. Everybody's there for a reason. And there are so many teams that I feel like, okay, they're the bad team, but they're really good and they can do this.
Yeah, are they?
And
really
if they face them, this could happen. And another thing I'm really excited about is, as we've spoken about a lot in this episode, I do like seeing players in roles that are unconventional for them. And I feel like this season, we're going to see a lot of players playing roles like we spoke about Angel or Brittany. Obviously, I'm in Atlanta and I'm going to be attending the Dream Games. I will be showing y'all the courtside fits all over TikTok.
Hey.
But I am really excited about just seeing players adapt into different aspects of their game based on the new fits of their teams, the new coaching. I feel like there's going to be a lot of newness, and just seeing how the rookies from last season develop. I'm just really excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a great season, y'all. And by the time this episode drops, we're going to be 2 nights out from the season openers on Friday. And by the next episode, I would have played in 2 games. So next week's episode is going to be fun. Lots to talk about. Good, bad, ugly. We're going to talk about it all. So we are really excited to finally have the WNBA season to talk about. We're going to get into it every single week. So thank y'all again for tuning in to another episode of Full Circle Podcast. We will see y'all next week.
And if you're going to clip us and talk about us, make sure you're streaming the games.
Period.
Bye.